Erik, a longtime beat writer, New York Newsday. We hear him in the fifth inning of the broadcast from time to time, and he joins us here on Big Board Sports on a Thursday. Good morning, Erik Boland.
Good morning, Roger. Good morning, Chris, and congratulations on the move.
Thanks, Erik. Appreciate it. All good here. And what's it like so far in Tampa? Are there any major headlines going on with the Yankees here? I know we're closing in on the start of preseason games, and Girardi going to make sure that pitching rotation gets set. Tanaka, I think, has already been said to be the opening day starter. But are there any headlines right now gravitating that our listeners need to know about when it comes to Yankee baseball?
No, I don't think so, Roger. I mean, so far there haven't been any, I guess I say knock on wood, significant injuries in camp. And really, to me, the longer I've been doing this, that's what spring training is all about, is not getting any of your major guys hurt. We always overreact to what we see in spring training and what we see in September. A lot of that has to do with it's the only game in town, so you kind of have to review whatever's in front of you. But the results really don't matter in the games that start tomorrow. The main thing is the most successful teams are the ones that come out of spring training having not absorbed any significant injuries to their top players. And to this point, that has not happened with the Yankees. And really, Roger, beyond that, the only headlines created so far in camp from a significant standpoint was the war of words that took place last weekend with Yankees president Randy Levine and Dellin Betances, after the Yankees prevailed in that arbitration hearing. And, of course, everyone's familiar with that back and forth. But Betances seems to have moved past it. I'm quite certain, and I know he is still a little miffed about how things went there, but he threw a live BP session today, looked good, looked strong, and he's a professional, and I believe, at least from that standpoint, he's moved on and really, it's a non-issue at that point. But other than that, it's just sort of been business as usual, and the game starts tomorrow for the Yankees at home against the Phillies.
And let's just touch a little bit on this Betances thing, because it was a story. I brought it up to our listeners, but I thought Randy Levine probably didn't need to make those comments, did he? They won fair and square. And he's still getting $3 million, not getting $5 million, not getting closer money. But I thought that would have been best just to move on if you're Randy Levine and not make any comments, to get a guy like Betances a little bit defensive on his end. He's a guy that you really need in the upcoming season.
It was odd, and I can't recall a team winning an arbitration hearing. And let's, be realistic. Arbitration hearings, the reason why neither players nor teams really like doing them is because they are, by their very nature, contentious. And so teams try to avoid that kind of thing, but sometimes it can't be avoided. In this case, it couldn't be avoided. So it was one of those things where the Yankees won, and so we all kind of looked at each other when the word came down kind of at the last minute Saturday morning that Randy Levine wanted to have a conference call with us, and then he came out and said what he said about Betances' agent. And it should be, made clear, Levine, regardless of what was said in the hearing, and Betances certainly didn't like a lot of the things the Yankees were saying about him in the hearing, but Levine in the conference call with us never attacked Betances, but he attacked his agent. And he tried to walk that line of, we love Dellin, I love Dellin, et cetera, et cetera. My problem is with the agent, but the player doesn't differentiate that because, in large part, you pay your representative, to be your representative. And so, therefore, if you attack the agent, you're attacking the player. At least that's how Betances saw things. So, he reacted the way that he reacted. And, it was one of those things where I think both sides had some merit. I don't automatically think the Yankees should have just ponied up. I think they should have met somewhere in the middle. But the Yankees did make him, as Levine said, the highest paid setup man who is first year arbitration eligible in the history of baseball. Levine repeated that several times, and that is true. But talking to an executive from another team, and he wasn't alone in this thought, if you list the top 10 relievers in baseball over the last 3 years, Dellin Betances clearly is in the top 10, and you could argue in the top 5 based on performance. And so, regardless of the fact that he's not a closer, if you just do it by best relievers in the game, the best relievers in the game can command $4 or $5 million or more. And based on that, Betances felt he should have prevailed in the arbitration hearing, and a lot of people agree with him. But again, why the Yankees chose to do a touchdown dance after winning the hearing was kind of head-scratching.
Yeah, that's the one that the touchdown dance, in my opinion, was not needed.
Erik Boland he's on Twitter at eBoland11. Erik, I lost my mind here recently when I was sitting in for Roger one day about some of these proposed changes Major League Baseball has, and obviously some that they've already implemented here. I wonder, though, as somebody who is at the game every night, interested to get your thoughts on not throwing 4 pitches out of the zone to intentionally walk a guy, potentially putting a guy on second base once you reach a certain point in extra innings. Does this stuff make sense to you? What are you for? What are you against?
Well, let's take each of those individually. First of all, Tony Clark, the executive director of the Players Association, they do a tour of every Major League camp every spring. They'll be in Yankee camp February 26th. And Tony Clark was asked about the putting a runner on second base, and he just basically laughed and said, no, there's zero chance that that's ever going to happen. So you can forget that one. I mean, it makes for fun discussion, I guess, but the reality is it's not going to happen.
Good.
The 4 pitches, I mean, to me, there's a practicality to it. I remember Doug Harvey, the Hall of Fame umpire, saying 20 years ago that that was one suggestion to speed up the game. Why go through the, extra 45 seconds of throwing 4 pitches? Just say, hey, bat or take first base. But if you're going to try to speed up the game and this is all you do, it's completely irrelevant.
Yep.
It doesn't take that much time away from the game. And if you looked at number of intentional passes during the course of the season, I mean, it averages out to, I think, maybe just over 1 per game. And so it just doesn't occur enough to where this makes a difference. If there were 10 intentional walks a game, then you could say, okay, this will cut into the time of game. But I suspect this is all they're going to do for now, and it's highly irrelevant. It makes no difference whatsoever. So to me, it's the old I don't want to say lipstick on a pig, because that's not completely analogous, but it doesn't. It's not doing anything. It's not going to accomplish what they think it's going to accomplish unless you have other complementary things that take place alongside of it. I am for speeding up the game, and you know what? You can cut 30 seconds of commercial time between innings. That'll speed the game up, but obviously we know that's a non-starter, so nobody wants to hear that. But I think there's other things that can be done, but this one is just it's frivolous to be honest with you.
Erik, before I let you go, how about the team itself? I mean, this is the Yankees have been staying the course with they're not going to make crazy changes, not going to go out and spend a lot of money, bring guys in, except they did obviously with Chapman, but very little of that. They've steadfast on the young guys that they have and really building for 2018. What can we expect if you're a Yankee fan from a group that has a lot of young guys that need to play really well for this team to be good, mixed in with the veteran guys this season?
Roger, I haven't made my wins prediction yet. I'll do that for the Newsday Baseball preview section. But I'm not a Pollyanna when it comes to picking these things. I think I picked the team to win 79 games last year, and I was off. The year before, I think I picked them to win 78 games. I was off again on that. They made the wild card. And I think I picked them to win 80 or 81 the year before that. So the last 3 years, I haven't thought they were going to be very good. I know a lot of people are targeting those type of numbers for this year. I actually think they're going to be a little bit better than that. To the point where they're winning 90-plus games and taking the division, probably not. But I think that, and obviously, everything's contingent on health and contingent on some young guys, continuing to reach their ceilings. I think that there's a decent possibility that happens. And if it does, I don't see there any reason why this team can't have a win total in the mid-80s and, take this into the last and maybe a little bit higher, and take this season into the last 2 weeks or so with a chance at a wild card spot. I actually think that that's a possibility, because when you look at this division outside of the Red Sox, there's a lot of holes across the board. And so I think it's not unrealistic to think that the Yankees can't be in the thick of the wild card race this year. I really believe that. And again, this isn't a beat reporter of the team always picks the team to do well. Like I said, last 3 years I've predicted them to be kind of bad and sub 500. So I guess I'm a little bit more optimistic. Again, not to the point where it's 90 plus wins, but I guess I'm a little more optimistic than most people at this point.
Erik Boland, New York Newsday. Always a pleasure for a few minutes from Tampa covering the Yankees. We are the home once again for New York Yankee baseball here in the Capital Region 104.5, the team. And we'll get back in touch, Erik. Have a great rest of your spring and look forward to the games beginning.
I look forward to talking to you guys again. Thanks, Roger. Thanks, Chris.
Thanks, Erik.
Thank you, Erik. One of the best there. Long time New York Yankee beat writer with New York Newsday.